Hey guys, it's Nicholas here from upgradeToLife.com and welcome to this video, which is a technique video, which is called the telephone technique, listen until you hear it 2.0. So I decided to call this 2.0 because I do have another video on my channel. It's one of the first videos I released. So if you go on my channel and you scroll down to the beginning of my channel, then you will see also a video with the title Listen Until You Hear It, where I basically explained this method, but right now it's a more, like it's another version of that same technique. It's another version of that approach. That's why I called it 2.0. And it definitely has something to do with your imaginative sense of hearing. So internally hearing something. And I want to explain this to you based on quotes from Neville, because he also used this technique. He had great successes with this technique. He said that this technique never failed him. So don't think because of the title is maybe funny, or you hear like telephone technique, what should that mean? Don't think that this is, any of these fluff methods out there where you pour water in another cup and think that magically you manifest your desires. This is not a thing like that. This is a technique that you can do internally, right? It's an imaginative exercise. It's something that you do internally, basically to anchor yourself in the desired state. And Neville called it like his telephone technique. So I will explain this to you. And this is so easy. This is so fun. This is so powerful that you can do this right after the video is finished. You can go and start practicing and start applying this technique. So with that, let's just go right in. First of all, I will explain you this method, and then I will also tell you how to apply it. And then I want to share some quotes from Neville himself with you, and where he shares his experiences with this technique. So how does it work, right? What is meant by the telephone technique? How can you apply this? How can you manifest your goals with a thing such as a telephone technique? Let me explain this to you right now, okay? So this is what we want to do, right? This is what this is about. It's basically about imagining a telephone conversation implying your wish is fulfilled. That is, first of all, what we want to do with this technique, right? Imagining a telephone conversation, a conversation that we have on our smartphone that implies that the wish is fulfilled, right? Nearly like the congratulation technique, but with the haptic sense, with the sense of feeling our phone. Because this makes it really real. This makes it really easy to anchor us in knowing, yeah, we're calling with this person actually right now, and they're, confirming to us that we are in the desired state. So how you do this very easily, right, is that you sit on your bed, you lay on your couch, you lay on your couch, wherever you are, whatever you would like to do this. It's not a set in stone plan, but you want to be in a place where you can relax and focus a little bit your attention on this exercise, right? And then what you want to do is you want to imagine holding your phone in your hand and listen to the words. These are the only two sensations that you focus on, right? You don't focus on where this is, when this is, how does the phone look like, how does the room look like. No, you just focus on the sense of feeling your phone in your hand. And because you have your phone so often in your hand, I bet you have it, and I bet you know how it would feel. And you can imagine how it would feel even if it's not in your physical hand right now. But you basically place it in your imaginative hand, and you hear the words coming out of the phone, right? The congratulation, your friend telling you, wow, it's so nice that you're now this. But let me continue. And then you choose to have the imaginative phone call with a friend, family member. It can be your partner. It can be whoever it is that you would speak to, when there is something regarding your goal, when you would tell that you've achieved your goal to someone, or when you would speak, about your life with someone, they would confirm, wow, how did you did this, right? But instead of just hearing it, you now hear it through the phone, because that's like another anchor. That's a really great way to like feel it real in a sense. So you choose to hear one simple sentence, one simple phrase, or I also like to take questions, right? So how have you done this? Or what if you apply to make this happen? Okay, can you also tell me how you're doing this, right? Or a phrase, right? I'm really happy to hear this, or I'm glad that you're telling me this, or these are amazing news, right? Whatever it is, you choose what you want to hear. You place the words that you want to hear imaginatively on in this person's mouth, and let them confirm that to you through your imaginative phone, through this imaginative phone conversation, right? And the sense of touching plus, right, in combination with the sense of hearing, like I said, is a really strong anchor in the desired state. Because when you do that, you automatically stop worrying about, you're not worried about where this takes place. Your mind won't wander because you're also focused on feeling the phone and then hearing the words, right? And that is what you want to do imaginatively. So you can lay down, you can sit on your chair as I'm doing right now, really easy. And I can right now, in my imagination, start, when I would stop talking, to feel, to sense my phone in my hand, place it on my ear, and, have a conversation with a friend. Just, 1 or 2 sentences, that's it. Right? So that is how simple this technique is. And you only have to listen, right? Plus add the sense of touching because it's fun and because it's really nice to anchor you more in that state without the mind drifting off to, oh, yeah, this could happen. And oh, that's also interesting. And oh, where am I? And oh, what is the color of the room? Right now, you're just present with the voice, confirming what you want to hear and feeling the phone in your hand. That is how simple this technique is. And with this technique, I go as far and I say you can manifest any goal because, again, that's just another way, that's just another technique you can use to anchor in the desired state. Please remember that all of these techniques I share, right, when I say I remember when, imagining at the end, having the congratulation, the eavesdropping technique, now the telephone technique, all of these techniques, you will find them on my channel, and all of them do one thing: bring the desire in the here now and make you identify with that desired state more and more so that it can express, right? So you can use this for literally anything, right? I used this recently, I used this for my business, right? And I had an imaginary conversation with my tax consultant asking me, first of all, confirming my success and asking me, how are you planning to deal with, with all of these, with this fast growing, right? How are you going to deal with this? Which implied for me, wow, that's actually a responsibility, right? Of that successful business, which implied to me, I have this successful business, right? And therefore, my reality is confirming that more and more to me, right? I also did the same just recently with a best friend. I forgot what this artist was about, but I definitely remember that I imagined, having a phone call with him where I, placed things that I wanted to hear from him in his mouth and heard this while I imagined this phone conversation with him. And then also, I think it was just about, meeting each other, or I don't know exactly what it was, but I use this often and I usually forget because I have this so integrated in my day-to-day life that I don't see this as a technique I do, and I have to work for this and I have to have a strict schedule when I apply this step by step. I use this so naturally that this happens so quickly, then something manifests and I just keep going without looking, oh, this and that, and nitpicking this entire process, right? I just know that these techniques work. I know that imagining creates reality. So I use this to imagine the end, and therefore things show up, right? I also had this with conversations with my parents where they basically congratulated me on this new apartment that I have, that I manifested for myself. I can also link the success story on this above right now. So again, you can play with this. You can use this for anything. And the good thing is there's nothing to wait for. Anyone can do this. If you listen to this video, you can imagine a phone conversation where someone tells you something that implies that you have achieved your goal, right? Where they ask you a question, when they just say one sentence, where they say a little phrase, you know how they would speak to you and you know how your phone feels like. And you just close your eyes and you imagine that on your ear and you basically hear the words that confirm that you are now the person that you want to be, that you now have what you want to have. All right? So that is how it works. That is the application. That is how you do it. Now let's look at how Neville described it. Let's look at how Neville applied it, because he also realized that, that's a powerful technique, really easy one. Okay. So he said, I have found my telephone technique infallible, right? So it's like, it cannot fail, right? It's inevitable that this technique works if you really put it to practice and if you really apply it the right way to anchor in a desired state, right? It never fails me, he said. One day, a friend called to tell me she wanted to take an examination to become a court reporter. Giving me 9 reasons why she could never pass the test, I changed every one as I heard it. And when the conversation was finished, I imagined an entirely different conversation with this friend of his, right? I heard her tell me she had passed the test with flying colors. My friend took the test, and although during the interval of 6 weeks, that is how long the bridge took in this case, she remained negative, I continued to believe she had passed. right? Then one day she called saying, do you remember when I took the test? And I replied, yes, and you passed it, right? Then she said, yes, but aren't you surprised? I've been trying to tell her that imagining creates reality, but she cannot understand how an imaginal act unseen by the human senses can be held onto and produce results. But I know it always does, right? That is the principle. And he is giving us here a wonderful story of his, how he applied this also, right? He just imagined a phone conversation with his friend. He also had an actual physical phone conversation with her. But then he imagined that phone conversation again, where she told Neville that she had passed the test, right? That she is now who she is. So he basically took this principle to manifest something for someone else, which you can also obviously do to help other people, right? But you can use it the same way if you have a desire for yourself, right? And then the interesting thing is, like he's explaining here, right? I have been trying to tell her that imagining creates reality, but she cannot understand how an imaginal act, right? How an inner shift, an inner movement, hearing something internally, like just hearing words internally and therefore anchoring in this new state, she does not understand how this imaginal act, which is unseen by the human senses, because that is beyond senses. With your physical ears, you're not hearing that, because that's not physically present. But with your imaginative ears, you hear it. And with your imaginal hand, you feel it on your ear, right? How this, and if you hold on to this, how this can produce results, but Neville knows it always does, right? And that is a really great technique, really easy one. My telephone technique never fails. I can give you dozens of stories of the results I received through its use. Here is another. A friend in her 50s desired to change her job for financial reasons. She wanted to return to the electronic plant where she formerly worked, but felt that because of her age, she would not be accepted, right? So that's another case where Neville helped a friend, right? And he really liked to do that. Ignoring all of the negative thoughts, I simply heard her excited voice tell me she had the job, right? So he talked with her, he met her in the 3D world, and she told him, yeah, I want this, but I don't know how this can happen. I'm unsure. I'm negative about this. I don't believe in this, right? Like that. And then Neville closed his eyes and he imagined a phone conversation with her where she told him that she has the job, right? And 1 week later, she actually called saying, they not only gave me the job with a large salary increase, but I'm receiving credit for the 10 years I worked there before, which will be added to my retirement. So just an even better manifestation that this woman thought about, right? So when you sit down and you predetermine what you want to hear and you listen until you hear it and you refuse to hear anything other than that, then you're using the one power in the world that awakens a man, and you're using your lovely imagination. That is the power that we have. So use it consciously, use it with this simple technique. If you're not a person that likes to visualize things, then imagine a phone conversation, right? Imagination enables you to hear something, to touch something, to smell something, to taste something, to see something. You can use all your senses in your imagination, right? Imagination encompasses all of your senses. So don't think that imagining only means visualizing. No, you can use the sense of hearing, plus touching in that example with the telephone technique, right? So you can sit down, you predetermine what you want to hear. So you know what you want. And then you hear that internally. You hear that through out of the phone, right? Until you actually hear it, until this is actually manifested, right? And then you use your wonderful imagination consciously. So I definitely think that you will like this technique. I personally love it. Like it took me a while to find this out or to learn about this and to apply this. But when I did, it was a game changer for me. I have a lot of clients that also, applied this technique with great successes. One of my clients manifested, also a new apartment from that, if I'm not wrong, that she applied this exact technique. But yeah, this is how easy it can be if we make it easy for us. So please let me know in the comments down below if you like this technique, if you now want to try to apply it, or if you have already applied it, what are your results? What are your insights? You can share this with other people in the comments down below. I look forward to read through that. And I highly recommend that when this video is finished, you ask yourself, what do you want? What is your desire right now? What would imply I have it? Who would I speak with? Who would I talk with? Who do I usually in my day-to-day life have phone conversations with? Maybe your best friend, right? Maybe your parents, maybe your partner. And then you just ask yourself, okay, if I am not the person I want to be, what would they say to me? What would imply that I am it? Right? If I tell them about this, how would they react? Would they laugh? Would they say, wow? Would they ask me questions about it? And then you close your eyes and you bring your imaginative phone to your ear and you have this little conversation with them, 1 or 2 sentences. That's it. This will anchor you in this new reality. This will anchor you in this new state that it is done now. So, simple technique. I hope you liked it. If you want to learn more about Neville's teachings and, the best way to apply it step by step, what I observe that people who get results differentiate people that, struggle and delay things, then check out the first link in the video description, which is my free masterclass. And if you want to take it to the next level, if you feel ready to finally go ahead, to finally, anchor these teachings, own these teachings, master these teachings, apply them naturally in your day-to-day life, then you can also apply for a free 45-minute consultation call with Upgrade Your Life with me, so that we can find out if we are a good fit to potentially work together in my program. That's the second link in the video description. And with that, speak to you next time. Bye, guys.